Welcome to Canberra, welcome to the AIS. It is FFA Cup qualifying, quarter-final action. It's Canberra Olympic versus Canberra FC, the two preeminent teams in Canberra over the last decade or so, battling it out for a place in the semi-finals. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator for the match this evening. Joining me on the gantry on a very breezy and cool night in Canberra is David Jordan from Canberra Football. Dave, the two sort of dominant sides over the last few years here in Canberra facing off in the match that pretty much neither of them would have wanted at this stage.
Absolutely right. It's a big game to have at this stage of the competition. We've seen these sides meet the last couple of years in the competition, usually in the semi-finals or later. So it's an interesting matchup to have while we've still got 8 teams remaining.
Team news coming up very shortly, but I can tell you obviously that Canberra Olympic have Stephen Dominici and Lassie Ulrich suspended from Saturday, and they have lost Tim Bobolas in the warm-up as well. He's pulled a hamstring, so we'll talk you through the teams as soon as they come out. FFA Cup quarter-final action, as I said. On the pitch over on the far side, you can see some players warming up. That's Cooma Tigers FC. They are playing the UC Pumas in one of the other quarter-finals this evening, and you'll be able to watch that on Bar TV Sports as well. You can probably catch a bit of it in the background of this one. Over at Hawker, Belconnen United play ANU FC, and down at Melrose, Woden Western versus Tuggeranong United. Dave, 4 intriguing cup ties and the possibility of a couple of cup upsets.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 fairly even matchups, you'd say. The only one on paper that might look a bit different is ANU versus Belconnen, but we know ANU, one of the stronger sides in NPL 2. Belconnen maybe stuttering a little to start the NPL 1 season under Steve Forshaw, but Tigers versus Pumas, there's obviously a little bit of a mismatch there. Tigers with a perfect start to the season. Pumas still a state league outfit, but they gave Gungahlin a good run in their last match, and I think that'll be an intriguing match over there.
They did get through, obviously, on the fact that Gungahlin fielded an eligible player and unfortunately booted out the competition, but a chance for them to cause an upset on the other field. Our focus, of course, though, is on this main field as you see the two teams coming out. Canberra Olympic in the blue, Canberra FC in the red. Let's start with the Canberra Olympic team. Rory Larkin returns in goal after suspension. The late change sees Tim Bobolas pull out, as I mentioned. Zidane Mutlu drops into right back. Michael Reeve at left back. Nathan Mejic and Nick Bobolas in the centre of defence. A new signing, signed only today, Dane Milovinovic, starts in midfield alongside Andrei Janchevsky. 3 in front of him. Nick Zakowski comes in for Dominici, Nick Popovic, Jay Kelly and Kofi Danning up front. So even though they're missing a couple of players, it's still a very strong Canberra Olympic lineup.
Frank's recruited really well. He lost a number of players in the off-season, but it's a really strong squad, and as you mentioned, losing 2 first-team players is often a blow. But they've got replacements, they've got depth, and it's still as strong a side as any in this league.
And a real baptism for Dane Milovanovic. Like I say, only signed this morning, and chance he was expected to be on the bench. Obviously, he's been dropped in there, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Canberra FC make 2 changes from the team beaten by Belconnen United at Deakin on Saturday. In comes Jordan Lamb at fullback and Ian Graham in midfield for Ivan Pavlak and Aidan Brunskill, precipitating a little bit of a shuffle for Luka Ujda's team. Sam Brown starts in goal. Lucas Miragis, Matt Gerbesham, Daniel Subasic and Jordan Lamb are the back 4. Ryan Keir and Ian Graham will hold in midfield. Daniel Colbertaldo and Matt Waters just in front of them. Daniel Barach and Jason Ugrinich looking to provide the goals up front.
It's, again, an incredibly strong side that Luka Ujda can field there. Sam Brown in goals, coming in place of Jordan Thurtell. They're 2 excellent number 1, so it's not really any loss there. A strong bench. Nikola Yadrich can provide a real burst. And if they need something a bit more solid at the back, the Lola Verkic and Ivan Pavlak, can just slot straight in.
Yeah, that's most of the substitutes. Pavlak, Jadrich, Thurtell, Brunskill and Verkic on the bench for Canberra. See, Canberra Olympic, very young bench. Sean Pateman, James Christus, the goalkeeper, Amir Adam, Adam Fauna and Seb Woods, the young 16-year-old. The referee is Gary Vanderbilt, Alex McConaughey and Damon Van Putten on the line. We're expecting a result tonight. We need to get a result tonight. If after the end of 90 minutes it's all square, we will, of course, have penalties after extra time. Dave, your prediction?
I think Olympic in a tight one, basing it off what we've seen so far this year. But this is a game that, you can never really pick, and it could go either way.
Well, we're ready to get this one underway. Canberra FC attacking the goal to our right in the first half. Referee just ticking the boxes. Tigers FC vigorously going to their warm-up. What time's that one kick off, Dave?
7:30 for that one. I think UC Pumas are just biding their time. I wouldn't want to stay out in the cold too long either.
Cup football is always good fun, and under the lights on the magnificent pitch at the AIS, we're sure to have an absolute cracker of a contest. Both these sides would have been favoured to win this competition, so to meet at this stage, as I mentioned earlier, probably not the fixture they were looking for, Dave, but we will see how they progress. First touch for Ian Graham records to the lineup after suffering from a bit of flu. And it'll be interesting to see if Canberra FC can stop the rot in terms of the goals they've been conceding. We saw on the weekend, Dave, that they conceded a couple very early in the first 25 minutes, and against Belconnen they were really up against it. Yeah,
I think Luca Rujda will be keen to avoid going behind early, like he did in that game. You know, it's never easy to chase your tail right from the start, particularly against a side that they're facing tonight in Olympic. It's not a position they want to find themselves in. So I think it's a fast start is really needed for Canberra FC to get off on the right foot.
Early touch for Subasic. Milovanović's first touch in blue. And Barac helps it on its way, and it should be easy for Zidane Mutlu, asked to move out of position due to Boblis' injury in that warm-up. Plenty of plots amongst subplots here today. Daniel Colbertado, one of them, playing against his former team. Here's Nick Popovic. Kier. Early touch for Greenwich, looks for Waters, and unceremoniously thumped into the air by Nick Boblis. Colbertaldo. FC, of course, will be looking for a better result than the one they got in the first league game of the season at Deakin, when Olympic came away with a 3-0 win, and they're starting on the front foot here with Lamb. Greenwich. That's a bit loose, and a chance perhaps for Popovic to start something forward for Olympic, exchanging passes with Danning, but the return ball asking an awful lot of Kofi Danning. They were second best on that evening, weren't they, at Deakin, Dave? And we're expecting that a little bit of measure of revenge, perhaps, for Canberra FC this evening.
Absolutely, they'll certainly be out to get a measure of revenge for that game. But let's not forget they weren't without chances on that night. They had a good penalty shout waved away, I guess, that they thought was maybe felt a little aggrieved by it. But they'll still need to be better tonight than they were on that night, and it'll be interesting to see the way they approach this one.
That was at 0-0, of course. Popovic challenging with Graham. Might come for Danning. Will come for Kelly. Tried to force the shot. Mutlu's there. Opportunity for Janchevsky, who scored twice in that match, to play the ball forward. Danning to Janchevsky again. Popovic turns. First shot on target, and a decent take from Brown. Looks to get us going forward quickly, Canberra FC. Here's Lamb. Easy win in the middle for Boblis. Kelly picks up for Olympic. Both these sides differing fortunes to get to this stage. Canberra Olympic were fairly dominant against Queanbeyan City in their round 4 game, only won 2-1 with a Dominici penalty and a Danning free kick, but they had umpteen chances in that one, and Canberra FC, of course, gave Brindabella Blues a bit of a touch-up, 6-1, hat-trick for Dominic Gianpaolo, who's absent this evening, so they were amongst the goals on that occasion. But their problem this season so far, Dave, has been their Achilles heel, has been defending, which wasn't the problem last year. Yeah,
only 13 goals, I believe it was, conceded last year across the league. Basically the league's best backline, and this year they just haven't had that consistency. Too many easy goals surrendered, I think. Goals that Luka Ushta really wouldn't be happy with his side conceding, if you can be happy with conceding a goal. And that's something they need to work on a little bit. A bit of communication in the back could go a long way.
Colbertado slid in, looked like he won the ball, but Gary Vanderbert says he took a fair piece of the player at the same time. Magic wants to get on with it and finds Kelly. Mutlu making the overlapping run, only Danning in the middle and Popovic on this near side to aim for the diminutive fullback, so he goes back to start again. Be interesting to see who does start the sharpest, and the first goal might be critical. FC started sharply on the weekend before going behind. Mirages with the chest to Kier, and here's a chance for Greenwich, and the flag stays down. Opportunities, Barac in the middle, He goes front post and he can't quite get a touch. Decent ball across, and all it needed was probably a touch from Daniel Barach, but good opening signs for Canberra FC.
Yeah, a touch from Daniel Barach or a defender there would have done the job, I think. There's a really good ball down that left wing. Jason Ugrinic just staying onside. As you mentioned, good early signs from Canberra FC. Starting on the front foot's really important. They've just got to be careful that they don't push too far forward and allow Olympic to get behind them on the counter-attack.
Both these sides in league action on the weekend. Canberra Olympic welcome Monero Panthers to O'Connor Enclose. Canberra FC have a home match against Woden Western as they look to reignite their faltering title defence. Cup football first, though. And arguably the more important fixture, Dave.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to put it, really. One win to start the season against Monero last weekend. They really are faltering in the league, and in what is really a short season, you can't afford to get caught too far behind the 8 ball. Obviously, they're now 9 points behind Tigers at the top, and the premiership, finishing top of the table, is the biggest prize for a lot of these clubs. Entry into the NPL final series, so they really need to get moving in the league.
They'll also feel there's some unfinished business in this competition, of course, being shunted at the round of 32 on the national stage last year. Canberra Olympic, we all remember their epic run to the semi-finals back in 2016, the best any Canberra side has achieved. Few will remember the following year, though, when they got knocked out at the round of 32 as well.
Got a nice boys' trip out west to Perth. Not a great result, but from speaking to Frank Cage of the side, we're pretty happy to get a road trip after that long run of home games the year before.
I think they went down 1-0 to Sorrento, if memory doesn't fail me.
Plenty of chances in that game.
There's Gerbischer, Colbertaldo, Subasic, picked off by Reeve. And Tarkowski goes in with the challenge, wants the throw, but it's going to go Canberra FC's way. Colbertaldo helps it round the corner, and Kier sends it forward, but that's easy for Mutlu. Magic, and his pass is a bit loose as well, and Colbertaldo looks for Barach over the top, but an easy take for Rory Larkin. Back in the side after suspension. Not much argument about sending off, was there?
As I guess you could call it an agricultural tackle on Michael John as he went racing through at O'Connor Enclosed. No protests once he got shown the card. He went straight off, replaced in goals by a defender teammate. Frank Casher had used all his subs, and served the week with James Christus in goal on the weekend against Tuggeranong, and now he's back between the sticks.
Olympic, of course, had 2 sent-off in their 2-1 win over Tuggeranong on Saturday. Both Lasse Ulrich and Stephen Dominici missing at least this game. It remains to be seen however many else they may miss. I believe Ulrich may have been handed down a 5-match ban today, but it remains to be seen, I guess. Certainly won't please Frank Casher. The loss of Tim Boblis won't help him either. But the signing of Dane Milovinovic probably will.
It's never easy to lose someone in your warm-up, particularly someone like Tim Boblis is very, very, very sturdy defender. Frank's having to make changes on the fly with the squad that he had at his disposal, minus Lasse from the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how this reworked backline performs tonight.
We saw this morning in the Champions League, Dave, how adaptability and bringing in players can change the scenario, and I'm sure Frank Casher will be hoping for some of that magic that Jurgen Klopp threw at his team this morning.
I was reasonably happy with that result.
I'm sure you were. More happy than Messi was. Here's Magic at the back. Likens himself to Messi.
It's almost spelt the same.
I think that's as close as Nathan Magic might get. No offence to Nathan, of course. Here's Waters. Looking for an option. Mirage steps inside, wins the free kick. This narrow, almost like a 4-2-2-2 that Luka Ujda plays, relies an awful lot on Mirage and Lamb to get up and down.
Yeah, Lucas Mirages is a really exciting young player. He made a few appearances for Belconnen last year under Steve Forshaw, and then played with Dean Ugrinic and the Canberra United side in the Foxtel MYL, and he's really made his mark so far out wide for Canberra FC, and I think he'll be important tonight.
Chance to deliver this free kick and pick out one of the 6 red shirts in the area. Barach climbs highest. Can't head it goalwards though, and that should be a goal kick. Not much between the two sides so far. If you were keeping tracks on the other matches, I could tell you the Pumas have turned up. They are warming up now. 10 minutes gone in this one. No score. We've seen some thrillers in the FFA Cup so far this season live on Bar TV Sports. Brindabella 4, Narrabundah 3 in the round 3 game when Bunda were 3-0 up, and the match we did down at Cootamundra where White Eagles saw off Wagga City 6-2, was it, or 5-2?
5-2.
We've seen some big scores and some big goals. Hoping for plenty more before the night is out. Subasic finds Colbertaldo. Looks to switch the play, and there's a bit of room here for Mirages. He's got Waters ahead of him, but he's overhit the pass, and Nick Bobolas read it. This match, of course, originally scheduled for Woden Park, but nature intervened.
A pesky cockatoo chewing through the lighting cable down there at our favourite athletics track, enclosed ground, meaning that the move out to the AIS, and not a bad pitch at all out here at the AIS. A lot of people rate this as one of the better playing surfaces in Canberra, Ross.
Can't really complain about the surface. What is it with football, with animals and capital football matches in Canberra?
I guess it's just a shame we didn't film this one, I guess, Ross.
If we'd been there when the cockatoos had chewed through the wires, it might have been interesting. Here's Subasic. Gerbischer, who needs to have a big game tonight to lift his team. Mudges good to take on Mutlu, and he's gone past him fairly easily, but Bobolas is there to cover. Danning was in the challenge, and it was a good win from Gerbischer. Milovanovic and excuse me, I'll fly through down my throat. He's looked tidy so far, Dame Milovanovic.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job out there early for Frank Keisha. I thought you just got caught on his name for a little bit there, Russ, but for a late inclusion, you know, he's looked good early, and I think he'll be important tonight for Frank Keisha's men.
Good interception that at the back from Magic, needed to be, as Barach was lurking. Forward loitering with some intent. It's been a good response to Canberra FC from the defeat on the weekend.
I think Luca Ujda will be pleased with the early signs, the way his side's come out. You know, they haven't let their heads drop after the weekend's result.
They've turned this one over, and a chance to Olympic to break forward in numbers. Popovic has it. Coming field to Milovanovic, who's left that a bit short, and you just touch might release Barach, but Nick Bobolas was alert to the danger. You can see that Olympic, as soon as they turn over possession, they look to break in numbers and at pace, as they'll try and do now. Popovic robs Ian Graham. It's 3-on-3 briefly. Zakowski to the left. Popovic goes right. He's got Danning outside. Left. Keir's touch. Barach. Not much ahead of him, so he has to go himself and tricks himself into kicking out of the play.
Yeah, I think he'll be disappointed with that one. Kind of one out there on the wing. His top number. But that was well defended there from Canberra FC. You know, Olympic looked, they were starting to break. Managed to slow Nick Popovic down and get numbers behind the ball. And really got that, what looked like a promising attack for Olympic.
Good win from Waters. A chance for Barach. Ugrinic outside him. Left it behind, and Mutlu was there. Sends it forward looking for Danning. His battle to win the throw just in front of the bench. Coming up to quarter of an hour to gone. Dave, and who do you think's happiest so far?
I think Luca Ujda will be happy with the start that his team's made. He said not letting the heads drop after the weekend's result, where it would be easy to do so.
Here's Barach looking to make it even better for them. Pulls it back, and Colbertaldo's little flick, and you can see what he was trying to do there. Ugrincha made the run, didn't quite come off. Nice idea though. And that ball's a decent one too, looking for Popovic, and Subasic has to be careful, and he defends very, very well. Loses out though to Zukoski on the second attempt. Danning. Kelly outside. He leaves it run for Kelly. Can he get the shot away? Into the box. Good shot on the turn. Deflection from Zukoski, and it almost ran into the path of Popovic.
There's good pressure there from Nick Popovic on the shoulder of Daniel Subasic to force, a bit of a mistake under that high ball and really give Olympic a chance to work forward with numbers.
Waters sends it through looking for Barac, and very well read by Rory Larkin. Came off his line very rapidly. No goals so far. Here's Reeve. Dave's got his eyes around the grounds. That one's intercepted. And Lambs it forward. Colbertaldo. Lamb again. 4 red shirts in this attack in the middle with him. Colbertaldo's one of them on the burst into the area. Might fall here for Lamb, and that's a good piece of defending from Bobolis. Medjic can bring it clear, and now a chance for Zukoski. Danning. Just a little bit too far ahead of Nick Popovic. Other games this evening, Dave, kick off at 7, apart from the Tigers UC Pumas. You know this one.
ANU Belconnen at Hawker at 7:30 game as well, and Tigers Pumas obviously just opposite us on Grassfield 1, which you can probably watch whenever the ball's in the middle of the park on
this
our game. Yeah.
If you come to the AIS, you could also watch some Masters action on the fields behind us. If this doesn't tickle your fancy.
All 4 games.
Looks like Bell West Brindabella in the women's, and maybe Gungahlin versus Woden.
Don't forget all 4 games obviously live on Capital Football Facebook and YouTube channel tonight. If you've got good internet, which means you're probably not in Canberra, then you can keep an eye on all 4 at once the second 2 kick off at 7:30.
Of course, live and free
on Bar TV, Russ.
As it is all season, as it is the home of grassroots football in Australia. This FFA Cup tie has to go the distance tonight, as I mentioned. To exchange passes with Lamb, and that's neatly done. Bit of space for Barac. He's got Waters to his left. Hammer made a good run to the right. Picks out Ugrinich. Shooting distance from Jason Ugrinich, but that's always riding over the crossbar and not going to trouble Rory Larkin. We did see him score from that range against Brindabella in the FFA Cup, so he's got it in his locker and he's more than capable of doing that.
Absolutely. We saw against Brindabella, he just kind of picked it up in that inside channel. Pressure wasn't applied, so he had time and space to really shoot. So it is something that he can pull out when needs be, and Olympic will need to be mindful of shutting him and Daniel Barrack down when they pull up from outside the box.
I think Luca Ujda will be very happy. I don't know if you caught that on your signed effects as a goal. Was there, Dave, behind us?
Brindabella have just put one in past Bell West on the field behind us. First goal of the night that we've seen, Russ.
Roy Larkin gets this one back underway. Had to fetch the ball. Which Dane Milovinovic will take. Very famous football name in Canberra. Finds Reeve. Danning. Looks to turn sharply. Finds Janchesk. Kelly out wide. Popovic. Kelly went again, but Mirages was there. Loses it in the lights. Popovic keeps it into the area. Real chance is for Nick Popovic. Pass 2 still going. And in the end, the intervention from Ian Graham stopped Nick Popovic from wriggling his way through on goal.
Yeah, Nick Popovic, a dangerous player for Canberra Olympic, and maybe one that we haven't seen as much as we'd have hoped the past couple of years. Brought down with injuries a little bit, but I think he's starting to show with a consistent run of health just how dangerous he can be up front for Frank Keisha's side.
In the absence of Stephen Dominici tonight, they will be relying on Popovic and Danning for their goals. Lamb. Colbertaldo. Good run from Mirages again. This duel between him and Mutlu is going to be one to watch this evening. Mirages looking to take on the fullback. Mutlu stays with him, but Mirages gets the better Chance here to pull it back. Colbertaldo shooting for Colbertaldo, and Daniel Colbertaldo, always one for the big occasion, fires it in the roof of the net, and Canberra FC have broken the deadlock.
Some goal there from Daniel Colbertaldo, Russ. We saw him do that a couple of times for Canberra Olympic last season, and now he's showing why Luka Ujda was so keen to get him to Canberra FC this season, and that's some way to open the scoring for us in this marquee matchup tonight in the FA Cup.
He took aim, he let fire, and it ripped into the top corner past Rory Larkin, who had no chance. And Canberra FC have a lead, and that's not something we've said too often this season.
That's the first time they've scored so far outside of the Charity Shield, Russ. I think Luka Ujda would be very pleased that his side are the first off the mark tonight and aren't forced to chase their tails. And I think Frank will be a little disappointed with his side and the way they closed out, or didn't close out, Daniel Colbertaldo there.
His former club as well, biting the hand that used to feed him, Daniel Colbertaldo, with a stunning strike. And that will be only the third time this season that FC have been in front, of course. Brindabella, the other one. Can they build on this? Miragis, Ugrinic, Jancheski tracking back with him. Taking a deflection, it will be a corner. And this is more like the Canberra FC we've come to know.
Absolutely, Russ. I think we've only really seen glimpses of this side so far. And this opening sort of 20 minutes has been what we haven't seen a lot of so far. We saw flashes of it in the Charity Shield, and if they can keep up this sort of sustained form, then this will be a tough go for Olympic.
Chance for FC from the corner. Miragis to swing it in towards the farbs. Subasic rises, good header too. Medjic forced it clear. Colbertaldo sends it straight back again. And Reeve sends it up and away. Just had to be Daniel Colbertaldo, didn't it, against his former team.
I think he's been waiting for that one a little bit. It's always, you want to come up against a former team and show them what they're missing out on, and I think that's what he's really done there. As I said, we saw him score a similar goal like that against Tuggeranong for Olympic last year at Greenway, and that really is a great way to open the scoring here.
Certainly it's a cup tie 20 minutes in. What have Olympic got in response? Mutlu changes gears. Switch of play from Jancheski to near side to Reeve. Kelly, he swapped wings with Sikorsky. Milovanovic. Now Mutlu, if there's something we know about Olympic, is they will not panic. That's easy for Miragis though. Colbertaldo sends it forward. Medjic looking to switch play. Miragis is there again. He wants it back from Waters and off he goes. He was all over involved in that first goal and he's off and running again. Miragis stepping onto his left foot and driving one goalward, and why not? Good positive run from the youngster. Draws an appreciative round of applause from the bench.
Absolutely, Russ, and we've had a goal elsewhere. Tuggeranong have taken an early lead over Woden Western. John O'Toole for home after Willem Lejeune could only parry an earlier effort from Tuggeranong. So that's a lead that Mitch Stephens will be pleased with down there.
2 in 2 games for John O'Toole after opening the scoring against Canberra Olympic in the league on the weekend. So Tuggeranong 1, Woden Western 0, and here Canberra FC leading Canberra Olympic by 1 goal to 0. Medjic wins the header, popped on by Milovanovic to Popovic, and Lamb intervenes. Reeve with the throw. Here's Popovic. No sign of the defensive malaise we saw on the weekend so far from FC. They look fairly solid.
Very solid at the back, Russ. Communicating well, looking to shut down Olympic rather than too much time on the ball, which is something they were guilty of against Belconnen, and they're doing a good job of bringing it out like they are now.
Barach let it run, and Bobolas needs to win this and does. Tarkovsky's touch. Colbertaldo just shrugs off the challenge of Reeve, but that's a bit loose, and here's Jancheski. A little bit quiet, but that's a great ball forward to Kelly. Real opportunity here for Kelly, and he's blazed it high and wide. Great ball from Jancheski, great opportunity from Jay Kelly, wasted.
Yeah, Olympic will be disappointed with that one. Kelly, firing it well over the bar and needing a replacement ball there. So that one rolls down towards the gate. But an early chance for Olympic, and I don't think Frank Casher will be happy with the way that one's ended.
Good ball from Jancheski. He's been very quiet at the start, though. We know he's got some quality. We saw him score a couple of goals in the league fixture between the two. They need to get him on the ball a little bit more. Yeah,
agreed. As you mentioned, we saw how important he was both on the ball and his movement off it in that game. In round one, maybe not featuring as much as Olympic would have liked him to be so far, and maybe that's a nod to Canberra FC so far.
Gerbish has turned this one over, and it's a chance for Kelly to pin his ears back and get into the penalty area. Gerbish are looking to rectify the situation, and he does. Brilliant piece of defending after his initial error. Here's Waters looking to take it to Olympic at the other end. Barach has made a great run through the middle, but Waters has run into trouble. But wonderful piece of defending from Matty Gerbish. Not so good at the beginning, but the recovery was excellent.
Absolutely, and that's a credit to him. You know, he's one of the better defenders in this league, doing a great job of sticking with it after he initially gave the ball away and then coming back to make a really good recovery tackle there for Canberra FC.
Graham comes square to Subasic. Gerbish. Brown hasn't really had a save to make yet. Subasic, ball forward is Mirages. Getting a bit of joy down that flank, and off he goes again. This time Nick Bobolis is in the way. Ivanovic challenging with Colbertaldo, who's penalised. And a chance for us to put some shirts forward and then find a way back into this cup tie, which they trail 1-0. The cracking goal from Colbertaldo. It's a good ball forward from Magic. Looking for Kelly. Here's Danning in the box. Dancing around one challenge, can't get around a second. Went early, looking for you, but didn't have the accuracy of pass.
Canberra FC looking pretty happy to sit down, sit deep behind the ball now, and wait for Olympic to really bring it to them, as we saw, getting bodies behind the ball and making it harder for them to play into dangerous areas, and then looking to get out on the break through Jason Ugrinic.
Here's Reeve challenging with Colbertaldo. Nice little back heel from Colbertaldo, finds Lamb. Ugrinic. Now Barach. Looks like a different football team, this one, the one we've seen so far this season. Barach into the area with the ball, and defensively Jancheski was back there. Barach though, and he almost squeezed it across. Second attempt from Barach, and the deflection was just over the crossbar, and Canberra Olympic were at 6s at 7s at the back there.
Yeah, as soon they got past Nick Popovic defending at the front there. Canberra FC were out on this right-hand side. Daniel Barrack with plenty of space, and that first cross ball blocked, and able to recover the loose ball, and that deflection almost looping in. Dangerous signs there, though, for Canberra Olympic if they allow Canberra FC that much space moving forward. Vital
block. Otherwise, it may have been a tap-in for Mirages on the far post, or Ugrinic, who was coming in. As it is a corner, Ugrinic will take himself. Decent one left it, and a double fist away from Lark. Falls for Colbertaldo. Tried luck again. This time the addition from Jancheski took the sting out of it. And Popovic set forward to Danning. Looks for a very problem for Frank Casher. 2 players suspended already. Tim Bobolis' hamstring in the warm-up, and now Kofi Danning's hamstring has gone chasing after that ball, and I can't see him carrying on, can you?
No, the way he's pulled up there, it's not a good sign at all for Kofi Danning and Canberra Olympic. Mickey Day comes on to check him out. Great sportsmanship there from Canberra FC to just pop the ball out there in the corner. Danning, obviously a teammate of many of these players from last season. It's not something we like to see here, particularly not this early.
Well, not only is it a problem for Kofi Danning, but it curtailed a fairly good-looking attack that for Canberra Olympic. You just hope it's a tweak rather than a pull, and if he does miss a game, it'll be a game or two rather than 6 or 7.
Yeah, absolutely. You never like to see someone miss time with injury. I think Frank Casher will be hoping the same thing here, as Danning fairly gingerly walks off the field. I think Frank Casher will be lining up a replacement now. Russ, we've got another goal down at Tuggeranong, have doubled their advantage thanks to a goal from Eddie Coggan.
South side rights seem to be going Mitch Stevens' way at the moment. Rene in the Tigers and Pumas match as well, we can see. We're waiting to see what change Canberra Olympic make at the moment. Irony of Frank Keisha stringing his squad this morning with Dame Milovinovic, now losing Bobolas and Danning to hamstring strains is not lost on me. He must be pulling his hair out. Block, and it needed to be from Nathan Magic, otherwise that might have been 2-0.
Funny, Russ, that looked like 2-0, and that's a massive effort from Nathan Magic to kind of just throw himself in front of that one. Jason Greenwich probably thought it was 2 already with how much space he had before Magic threw himself at that one. That's a big chance for Canberra FC, but also a bit of a concern for Canberra Olympic.
And there's no change, of course, at the moment, so they're still playing with 10, which is unusual. They haven't got anyone ready just half an hour in. Decent knock towards the far post. Subasic was arriving. And Canberra Olympic looking dangerous. Thoroughly deserving of their 1-0 lead at the moment, as Dave said. Tuggeranong United 2, Woden Western 0. No goals in the other games as yet. Just started, of course, at Hawker and here at the AS. Across the way, Reeve looking to take on Greenwich. Kept it in play. Milovinovic was in the way though. Magic. To turn and take on the SC defence, and that's good feet from Nick Zakowski, but he's run into towards. Looks to try and win it back, but FC keep possession with Ian Graham. Mirages. Keir. Left to right as we look at it, and Olympic have looked dangerous on their sporadic forays forward, but they've been few and far between. Here's Popovich into the challenge of Graham.
It looks like a change here now for Canberra Olympic, Russ.
They're finally back to a full contingent of players as they look to find a way into the cup tie. It's Sean Pateman, I think, that's coming on. This might precipitate a bit of a change in formation as well, Dave.
Yeah, I think so. See Kofi going off and now Pateman just slotting into the back line as he comes like a bit of a reshuffle for Frank Keisha. Maybe not having a like-for-like replacement for Kofi Downing on the bench.
Off goes Barach, working hard. Bobolas, his omnipresent shadow, looking to find some support. That's well played from Kier. Looks to slide it through to Waters. Back to Kier again. Nice patient build this from Canberra FC. Waters. Kier again. Mirages. And here is Maddie Waters. Visic. Well, they're content to keep possession, Dave, and there's been no real press from Camping at the moment.
Just thinking that Canberra FC really happy to kind of stay on the ball, work through a patient build-up and not really rush things, whereas you see Olympic only releases out on the break, really kind of looking to push the pace and getting shut down Canberra FC defence.
Cobaltaldo out wide to deliver this into the penalty area. Second deflection, Barach is there on the far post. Wins it against Mutlu. Might lay it back here for you. Greenwich lets it run for Keir, but neither of them get got away. Cobaltaldo's touch. Lamb's delivery and a Canberra FC corner, I believe, that went up.
Close enough.
Ish.
They're looking dangerous at their set pieces, though. Rory Larkin a couple of times has been really unsure about whether to come off his line or not. So I think that's something that, with the right ball in the mixer here, Canberra FC can exploit.
Greenwich looking to provide towards a near post and a decent header away from Kelly defensively. Corner on the other side. Miragis will lope across to take this one. Interestingly enough, Matt Gerbish has stayed back and he scored a cracker on the weekend. Not with his head, but with his foot and an aerial threat. But he's back marshalling the defence. Meanwhile, Barac was in there and it's going to break for Jancheski. Looks for Popovic. Lamb's in front of him though. Jordan Lamb might try his luck from range as well, and why not? Confidence flowing through his veins. Didn't test Larkin on that occasion, but once again, nobody closing down the runner.
Olympic not really quick to respond to, Jordan Lamb getting on the ball and having a lot of time in that, kind of crossing from the midfield to the attacking third. And why wouldn't you have a pop when you've got that much time and space? Had the line right, maybe a bit too much on it, sailed over Rory Larkin's crossbar, but again, a dangerous sign for the trailing side.
Daniel Colbertado's goal is the difference between the sides at the moment. Waters wins a header. And if Luca Ujda was looking for a response from his group from the travails they've had at the start of the season, he's got one at the moment because this has been an excellent performance across the park.
This is much more of the Canberra FC that I guess we expected coming into this season than the one we've got so far. Luca will be pleased with it, but he'll be hoping that his side can go shot for the full 90 minutes. We've seen them have some strong periods so far, but if they can keep this up for the full game, then they'll definitely be hard to beat.
Still plenty of time to go, of course. Michael Reeve with the throw. Popovic looking to bounce his way through a couple of challenges and in the end concedes the throw. Colbertaldo turned into trouble. Kelly. Popovic, and he's gone down under challenge from Matt Gerbish, and this is a free kick in a very, very presentable situation.
Yeah, this is a really dangerous spot for Canberra FC to concede a free kick. Canberra Olympic definitely with some players that can be good over a dead ball. And it looks like UC Pumas may have taken the lead on the other field, Russ.
Well, we're looking for a cup set, and it looks like we might get one on the far side at the moment. Early days, of course, but Pumas 1, Tigers 0 as far as we know. Here, Canberra FC lead 1-0 and a chance for Olympic from the set piece. Milovanovic is placing the ball. He's been tasked with the responsibility, only just coming into the side. Trusted with the set piece, the former AIS South Melbourne and Preston midfielder. Here is Milovanovic, bends it goalwards, and it's flashed just wide. And it certainly had Brown worried for a moment.
It's an interesting way for the right footer to go, Russ. Normally we'd see them go towards that far corner as we see it, but instead looking to go across goal. Hard to say whether Sam Brown might have had that one covered if it did dip into the corner, but a good warning shot for Olympic.
That's what they needed. And they need more of that if they're to get back into this one. Matty Gerbischer will be a relieved man after conceding that free kick in a dangerous position. Sibicic. As we stand, 3 of the top 4 in the Premier League are losing their cup quarterfinals at the moment.
Don't think Gabby Wilk would be too pleased over on that far side, Russ. Down 1-0 to Pumas.
Well, there's a long, long way to go in that one, of course, but that would be a monumental upset if it stayed that way. I'm sure plenty of those in Tigers colours will have much to say. Here's Pateman. Going to force his way past Colbertaldo. And in the end, He gives the free kick away, much to his and his team's frustration. And Canberra FC will be in no rush to get on with it. Coming up into the final 5 minutes of the first half, we will have a couple of minutes of stoppage time, I'd imagine. No one's destroyed a corner flag here, but it's been a couple of injuries. No, most notably, Kofi Danning with his hamstring strain. Bobolus wins that one. Medjic looks to clear it. Falls for Colbertaldo. Keir prods it forwards. Waters beaten to it by Medjic. And now Bobolus looks to send it towards Zakowski. Keir picks up the pieces. Milovinovic fouled by Colbertaldo. We said on the weekend in commentary, Dave, that we've seen some glimpses of Canberra FC this season. This is a much more polished performance, though.
Yeah, you're right. And this is the most, I guess, consistent outing we've seen from them so far. You know, against Monero, their second half, they came out all guns blazing, but it was really only 45 minutes of that game that they showed us what they can do. You know, from the outer here, though, you know, they've looked really strong and, as you say, a very polished version of the side that we've seen so far.
It's a loose pass from Miragis, though, picked up by Popovic. Immediately there's 6 red shirts back, though, as Popovic tries to force his way past a couple. Might come for Reeve. Can he deliver something towards the far post? Kelly's the only man in the area, and Sam Brown plucks it from his head and bowls it out underarm, and here comes Jordan Lamb. Clipped forward from Subasic. Balac will chase. Medjic is back there, though, and uses his goalkeeper. Pateman, difficult one to keep in. But at the moment, the midfield battle is being won by Canberra FC, and that's setting the tone.
Absolutely. You know, they're dominating that middle third and really looking to drive forward whenever they get the ball. Where, when Olympic have it, they're not allowing them any time or space to move, and you know, they're forcing into mistakes. And as you say, that's setting the tone and allowing Canberra FC to really be on top.
Well, here they come again, and the flag went up against Daniel Balac, Damon Van Putten. Easy decision for him. So just a recap. Daniel Colbertaldo's goal here gives Canberra FC the lead. In other matches, it's Woden Western 0, Tuggeranong United 2. And the upset of the night so far, Pumas 1, Tigers 0. Didn't think I'd be saying that this evening.
Certainly not in that order.
Good ball forward, and here's Kelly. He's broken the offside trap and swings it across the goal. Chance here, but Miragis was alert to the danger and even wins his team the throw-in. Lovely ball across from Kelly, though.
Yeah, really beautiful cross. Just slid across in front of Sam Brown. Brown opted to stay at home. Nick Popovic couldn't quite get to it. As you say, Lucas Miragis really getting across to it and winning his side of throw-in.
Time ticking away at the end of the first half here at the AIS in the big quarter-final between two sides who have fairly dominated this competition over the years. 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Only 4 teams have represented capital football in the FFA Cup on the national stage. These are 2 of them, Tuggeranong United and Gungahlin, the other 2, of course. FC looking to bring this forward. Can they finish the half on a high note as Tigers equalise against the Pumas across the way? 1-1 in that one. Here's Kelly looking to play the ball inside Popovic, and that's a challenge from Colbertaldo, which will earn him a yellow card. I think Gary Vanderbilt suggested that was his 3rd or 4th.
So Gary counting those ones out there to Daniel Colbertaldo after that challenge. Just nipping the heels of Nick Popovic there and giving Canberra Olympic a chance to swing a ball into the box here just ahead of half-time.
Fairly easy decision, that one, for Gary Vanderbilt. A goal and a yellow card for Daniel Colbertaldo in this first half. The last vestiges of which we're watching right now as Dane Milovinovic will swing this into the danger area, looking for a blue shirt, looking to end the half on a high, but it's FC who will break. Mutlu wins the loose ball and a chance for Reeve. Now plenty of opportunity and time for him to pick across towards the far post. Kelly arriving couldn't direct it goalwards, and the chance goes begging. We mentioned it before, Dave. Luka Ujda will be very happy with what he's seen.
He'll certainly be the happier of the two coaches going into the sheds at half-time, you'd think, Russ. As we mentioned, a polished display so far. Not a lot of what we've seen so far this season. And, I think he'll just say to his boys, we need more of this in the second half. And keeping Olympic at bay can be their primary topic from now on.
Will be scratching his head as to why they've not performed like this in most of the games this season. Momentum's a funny thing, though, in football. Here's Zakowski talking to Andy Burnell before kickoff when we were talking about momentum, and it's something that Canberra FC haven't had after losing the first game 3-0, and you could see it visibly throughout their team. But maybe this is the change they needed.
Yeah, it's hard to really get going with some momentum when you only perform in fits and spurts, particularly after the start they had to the season, losing 3-0 in the reverse of this fixture. But now if we see them put it together a bit more like this, then it'll make it a lot easier for them going forward into their next league outing against Woden.
Well, they only need to see out a couple more minutes or so, or maybe even less than that. We've had a minute or so of stoppage time already. Bobbler sends that forward. Waters goes past the first challenge and then settles for the throw. Gary Vanderbilt has a look at his watch, getting ready to bring the first half to its conclusion. Have FC got something to add before that happens? Kia prods it forward. It's won by Jancheski. Off he goes, and just as he was getting into his stride, Gary Vanderbilt ends the first 45 minutes, and a very satisfactory one for Luka Ujda and his team, who have the lead thanks to Daniel Colbertaldo's goal, Dave, and one that on the balance of play they deserve.
Not wrong, Russ. We've seen Canberra FC win the midfield battle and really ask questions of this Canberra Olympic defence. Olympic, on the other hand, maybe not doing enough to really pressure the Canberra FC defence. It's not really the back line that we've seen so far this season. They've looked a lot sturdier. Sam Brown maybe having a bit to do with that, commanding that back line. And, yeah, definitely on the balance of play, Canberra FC deserve this lead going into half-time.
In a cup tie between two of the best teams in Canberra, you want a good goal to separate them, and that's what we've got. Daniel Colbertaldo's thunderbolt after 20 minutes, breaking the deadlock, and is the difference between the two sides at the break. We'll be back for the second half, but in the FFA Cup qualifying quarter-final here at the AIS at half-time, it's Canberra Olympic 0, Canberra FC 1. Welcome back to the AIS for the second half of this FFA Cup quarter-final qualifying match between Canberra Olympic and Canberra FC. At the break, Daniel Colbertaldo's goal separates the two sides. Canberra FC leading by that strike from the former Olympic midfielder. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Dave Jordan was with me with the first half, and he's still here. He's not frozen to death just yet. Coming from the lovely climes of Tasmania, he's used to a bit of cold. And Dave, what do Canberra Olympic, in your opinion, need to do to get back into this in the second half?
They really need to find a bit of time and space on the ball, Russ. At the moment, Canberra FC not allowing them any of it, and they're rushing things a bit when they're moving forward. I think if they can take a bit more time when they've got the ball, as Canberra FC have been doing, they've been really patient. Then I think that'll really show for Olympic.
Well, just to look through the sides at the start of the second half, it looks like Olympic will be as they ended the first half. Larkin in goal, Mutlu, Bobolas, Mejic and Reeve, Milovanovic, Jancheski, Zakowski, Popovic, Kelly and Pateman, who came on for Danning. Canberra FC, as you were, Brown in goal, Maragis, Gudabisha, Subasic, Lamb, Keir Graham, Colbertaldo, Waters, Badach, Ugrinich. Elsewhere, goals from John O'Turek and Eddie Coggan have Tuggeranong United 2-0 up over Woden Western. Mark Shield and Jad Tanini scored either two goals either side of what looked like an own goal off Jacob Cole for the Pumas, and that cup tie may well be going the way of the Tigers, who now have a third goal inside the first half, so Pumas' lead was short-lived.
Russ Gibbs, 25 minutes in, Tom Crosley has put ANU into maybe a surprise lead against Belconnen United at Hawker.
We'll be looking for a cup upset somewhere, and maybe that's the one we're going to get. ANU 1, Belconnen 0. Tom Crosley.
A cup set, I believe the kids refer to it nowadays as, Russ.
I'm sure they do. Free kick here. I guess you would call this a cup set, but not of the same proportions as if ANU knocked out Belconnen United. Our friend Kingston Forshaw wouldn't be very happy. Subasic sends it forward, looking for Waters. Wins the header, and it's going to roll harmlessly through to Rory Larkin. And big team talk at half-time from Frank Keisha. What have his team got? Maragis is touched back, and Gudabisha will be alive to the situation.
Looks like Olympic Russ making an early decision to really press Canberra FC in possession here, which is something we didn't see a lot of in the first half.
Yeah, they were happy to sit back and let FC play, which has worked against them. Here's Badach going forward, and Jancheski brings him down. He's had a haircut since the first game of the season and not performing as well as he did in that one. Maybe he needs to grow his locks back out, Dave. But he's one player, in all seriousness, that they need to get back in tune, don't they, really, Andrei Janchevsky, if they're to find a way back into the cup tie.
Absolutely. The reverse of this fixture, Russ, in round one, we saw how important he can be when he scored a couple of goals and really set the tone for them in that match. But so far, he's not shied away, but we just haven't seen a lot of him. Haven't seen him impose himself on this fixture.
Graham finds Subasic. Looks to play the ball down the line, and that's a fair bit of Jordan Lamb. Larkin's clearance has found Jancheski. Up towards Popovic. Battle with Gudabisha, who came out on top on that occasion. Here's Lamb with Pateman. Colbertaldo. Really was a cracking strike from Daniel Colbertaldo to break the deadlock. Gudabisha. Graham. He's brought some calmness and authority to this midfield as well. He's going to get it back again, the FC skipper. A decent knock wide towards Lamb. Keir. Lamb goes for the return, and Mejic is there, though. But can only concede the corner. Good start to the second half again from FC.
Yeah, really on the front foot to begin this one. Managing to get out through this kind of Canberra Olympic press and make their way forward. You're speaking about Ian Graham. We haven't seen a lot of him so far this season. Maybe it's the change they need, having a bit more of a calm, experienced, level head in the middle of the park to help distribute and really direct the team.
Well, he's hanging around outside the penalty area, not getting involved in Ugrinich's ball in. And this is why it's fallen to Ian Graham. To lift it in towards Ryan Keir. Rory Larkin got two hands on it, falls for Badach. Good block by Milovinovic. Colbertaldo. Miragis. Deep ball towards the far post. Ugrinic coming in, and a nice header from Pateman to concede another corner. Pressure building from Canberra FC.
Knocking on the door a little bit here. Rory Larkin maybe getting both hands to it, could have grabbed that one instead of punching it, and it almost resulted in a big chance at the edge of the box for Daniel Barach.
Chance for Ugrinic to maybe swing this into the danger area once more, and it's a good one too. And there's Larkin again, electing to punch. Not a good one either. It might come for Barach. Goes down in a heap in the penalty area. Asks a question of referee Gary Vanderbert, who answered in the negative. Now here's a chance for Olympic on the break with Reeve. Runs straight into Ian Graham, who even gets the throw. Just these little things that are going the way of Canberra FC.
Yeah, it's maybe these 50-50s that Canberra FC are winning a lot more than we've seen them so far. Again, Rory Larkin, a strange decision to punch there. Almost coming back to bite him again, just going straight up in the air rather than electing to go at it and grab it with two hands. 2 or 3 times he's done that this evening, and it hasn't cost him just yet, but it might come the end. Here's Miragis, who's been lively. Barach looking to spin and turn. Looks much more at home playing a bit further back, Lucas Miragis, than he did as a forward against Belconnen. He looks a bit more in his element tonight than we have seen him so far. It looks like Olympic making another change, Russ.
Be interesting to see who this is. Looks like Nick Zakowski has run his race for the day. Brought into the side for this one. Looked lively on a couple of occasions when he get the ball, but we didn't really see an awful lot of him as an attacking force, did we?
No, and it's been the story, I guess, for a few Olympic players so far. Russ, haven't really seen them impose themselves on the match in the way that maybe Frank Keisha would like them to. Interesting to see if this change and a bit of a shuffle, it looks like, can make a difference in the second half.
It's Amir Adam who's come on, I think. Magic looks to force his way up front, and he's got a decent throw on him, and that's a good throw too. Looking for Popovic in behind Subasic, 6 minutes into the second half, and Subasic just bundles him off the ball, and it was a good solid piece of defending.
That's a good sign for Luka Ruzda, Russ. Daniel Subasic was in a bit of trouble at one point on the weekend when he went down with a bit of a knee injury, but clearly showing no signs of any ill effects as he bundled Nick Popovic off the ball there.
Reeve, Adams made the run outside him, and here he is. First chance for the substitute to show what he's got. Got into a good position, but the cross wasn't as firm as he would have liked. Bit of a wasted opportunity, that one. Can rectify the situation, though, off this throw. Or did it go out for a corner? It is a corner. Must have just nicked the other side of the flag. Can't really see from our angle, perched on top of the changing rooms. Deep one from Reeve. Comes from Magic, who struck it superbly, but it was blocked, and it's going to be brought away by Miragis. The runner on this near side is Ugrinic, and he's got acres of space if he could have switched the play, but Zidane Mutlu got a very important foot in.
It's a very well-timed tackle there. He could have been in a bit of trouble if he got that one wrong, but it was really perfectly timed tackle against Miragis, who's a very quick player and has allowed Olympic to get back and defend in numbers here.
Here's Waters. Finds Lamb. Good tackle that from Kelly, but the loose ball is picked up by Graham, as has been most of the loose ball picked up by those in red shirts this evening. They needed something to kick-start their season, and at the moment they're getting it in this big match. Speaking to Luka Ushla before kickoff, and he was confident the boys could turn it round, and he said they were in a good place considering their results hadn't been so good. We had seen glimpses and patches of their form throughout the season, but they're actually putting something together on a more consistent basis, as Dave alluded to in the first half. Here's Gerbischer at the back, who is a vital part of that.
Yeah, Matty Gerbischer is so important from the back, not only just as a defender, but also as a ball player. And kind of to marshal the entire team since he came back from Belconnen last season. Every season, that kind of switches has a turning point. You've got to wonder whether a performance like this might be it for Canberra FC, Russ.
Milovinovic looks to send Popovic on his way. Gerbischer knocks this one back, though, comfortably for Brown. Graham Looking for Lamb. Magic picks up the ball, and here's Milovinovic. Left that a bit short, and Mirages is in. But his ball forward is picked up by Bobolas, and in turn he gives it away, and now Ugrinic might keep this in. Bobolas looking to get back there, and that's a good firm challenge from the central defender. Elsewhere, ANU 1, Belconnen 0, Woden 0, Tuggeranong 2, Tigers 3, Pumas 1. Pumas just had a goal disallowed for offside. Here's Mirages, finds Colbertaldo. So they're not out of that one just yet.
No, giving Tigers a run for their money over there, Russ. Certainly maybe a bit more than most people would have expected. UC still just a state league side. Tigers, leading the league and not really showing any signs of slowing down so far. So I think the Pumas will be happy with their initial showing.
Yeah, when they went 1-0 behind, it was almost like poking the bear. And they've responded. Canberra Olympic have yet to respond to the goal from Colbertaldo. Halfway through the first half. Apart from one or two sporadic openings, they haven't looked likely to either. And here's Barach trying to force his way through. And I think that's probably the thing that's annoyed Frank Keisha. And of course you can't legislate for the fact that he lost Tim Bobolas in the warm-up. He's lost Kofi Danning in the first half to a hamstring injury as well. So his tactical plans would have gone up in smoke.
Yeah, it's not too many chances you can really think of that Olympic could have taken to change this scoreline so far.
Well, Kelly was looking to rectify that situation off of Mutlu's throw. They're trying to do things a little bit quicker than they managed in the first 45 minutes. Milovanovic. Mutlu. What's 1-2? Just to force his way in, and that's a good piece of defending from Lamb, but that's not so good. And it might fall here for Janchevsky. Great save that from Sam Brown. Look for money like he'd equalised Andrei Janchevsky off an error from Jordan Lamb, but a fantastic save from Sam Brown keeps his team in front.
We're just talking coming out of half-time about Andrei Janchevsky's need to really impose himself on that game, and for all money it looked like he'd draw on his side level there, but that's a stunning save from Sam Brown. We know what he's capable of from seasons past, and that's a really good save to keep his side leading 1-0.
Not only did he stop it, he held it too, because there was Olympic players lurking for a rebound, and it was an outstanding save from the Canberra FC custodian. But a warning sign, if FC needed one, an uncharacteristic defensive blunder from Jordan Lamb after he defended it well. He just presented it on the plate to Mutlu, who picked the right pass.
Yeah, interesting decision. It looked like Jordan Lamb just trying to keep the ball in almost rather than concede a corner. You have to wonder about whether that's the right choice to make in that situation with with attackers in the box with you.
I guess in the long term it was the right decision. If Brown hadn't saved it, it definitely wouldn't have been.
Having faith in your keeper, I think, Russ.
I'm sure Sam Brown will send him a thank you card afterwards.
Might have been some different words exchanged in the 6-yard box after that one.
Been one or two. Lovely turn that from Magic. Playing in a more advanced role, looking for the 1-2 off Popovic. Plenty of red shirts around him. Here's Reeve. Gets a deflection off Mirages and a corner for Canberra Olympic, and maybe they're just turning the screw a little bit and upping the tempo.
The second time in this half that Olympic have found a bit of joy coming down this right-hand side. First time through Amir, now through Michael Reeve, and maybe a little bit of concern for Canberra FC.
Reeve with the corner. Plenty of blue shirts to aim for. It's a flat delivery though, and it's an easy one for Ian Graham to deal with. Nodded back in from Janchevsky, and the whistle had gone, which again Lamb was probably thankful for. He forced a decent save out of Sam Brown.
This is the point where Canberra FC, Russ, really need to make sure that they don't let up on this defensive intensity that they've shown so far. You know, for the first almost an hour of this game that we've seen.
Well, at some stage Olympic are going to throw the kitchen sink at this, and it'll be how Canberra FC responds and hold out and can they catch them on the break and maybe seal this match. Graham's ball to Lamb. Only Barach ahead of him. Pateman was in the way. And Magic who seems to be given licence to roam in this second half. Still 1-0 at Hawker.
Still 1-0 at Hawker Rust. Interesting to note that while Frank Case has made 2 changes so far, Luka Ujda still has 3 substitutes on his bench. He's got some really strong defensive options in Lola Verkic and Ivan Pavlak. Even Aiden Brunskill as well can come on and really help shut up shop for this Canberra FC side if they want to inside the final half hour.
Adams ball forward, picked off by Cole Bataldo. Looks to find Greenwich. Decent turnout on this near side in terms of support. Smattering of people around on the far side as well, catching this game in Tigers Pumas.
News of a second goal at Hawker Russ. ANU going up 2-0. We'll have more details on that one shortly.
Here's Greenwich. Wins a free kick. So cup set very much on the cards at ANU. Hawker, I should say. ANU 2, Belconnen 0. There was a thought that the AstroTurf pitch might be a leveller. Here's a chance for Canberra FC. Daniel Colbertaldo over the free kick. Swings it towards the far post. Larkin comes and punches again. This time it's thrashed forward from Jancheski. Lamb and Popovic battling, and Lamb comes out on top and then is brought down by Jancheski. Gerbyshire having a word with Gary Vanderbilt. And Gary Vanderbilt explaining the situation to him in a league game. He may well have sent him for 10 minutes.
Absolutely. Obviously, Rusty, introduction of temporary dismissals this year to help the referees with players crowding them and questioning decisions consistently. Not applicable in the Cup, but we saw on the weekend, Brad Waters, I believe, sent off for 10 minutes for Belconnen United, and Canberra FC made the most of it, scoring in that span.
Subasic lifts it towards the penalty area. Keir wins the header, and that's easy for Rory Larkin. I'm sure Matt Gerbyshire was being a perfect gentleman and just having the chat very calmly. Subasic punches it forward, picked up by Kelly. Popovic. Pateman. Kelly. Looks to slide it through. Real chance here. Flag goes up. Opportunity from Mutlu, but Damon Van Putten has the flag up, and it's a free kick for offsides. So if you're looking for cup drama, Hawker's the place to be right now. And you from NPL 2 leading Premier League Belconnen 2-0. Half time in the UC Pumas Tigers match, 3-1 to the Tigers, coming from 1-0 down. And we're an hour or so into this tie here, and it's still Canberra FC leading by a goal to nil. Greenwich looking to take on Pateman.
Rowan Peterkin it was, Russ, netting the second for ANU over at Hawker Football Centre.
Looking to be one of the non-NPL 1 sides in the semi-final draw. Here's Gerbyshire. Canberra FC looking to book their own place in the last 4. Popovic got a foot in, but Gerbishire's back there to win it back. Waters. Back to Sam Brown, whose save may turn out to be critical. Best chance of the game, that, for Canberra Olympic, as Keir finds Lamb on the overlap. Good opportunity here if he can pull it back. There's no red shirts waiting, though. Jancheski got a foot in. It's Colbertaldo, sets aim again, fires one just wide.
Another big chance there with a bit of time and space on the edge of the area for Daniel Colbertaldo. If that cross found its way to the back post, Canberra FC had men lurking. Bit of a danger for Canberra Olympic as they look to push for an equaliser here. The risk of getting caught on the break opens up a bit more and more.
Going to see plenty of that a bit later on in this tie, you would think, as the night ticks on and Just over 25 minutes or so to go here at the AIS. And it's 1-0 to the red-shirted Canberra FC. Here's Popovic, who's worked tirelessly for Olympic, looking to force a way back into the match. Here he is out wide once more. Runs into former teammate in Colbertaldo. Gets a bit fortunate, and that ball down the line looks to set Barac on its way, and he's quick and strong, but so's Janchevsky, who was back there to help out.
Pumas and Tigers just coming back to the sheds now, Russ. Tigers up 4-1 at the break on that far pitch. UC holding out for the second leg. The University of Canberra, I think.
Fortunately for them, there's no way back if it finishes tonight, and they're going to need to find something in the second half. The Pumas, you'd think that one may well be done and dusted. The league leaders upping the tempo after going behind. Ugrinic can't keep it in play. No movement as yet on the Canberra FC bench. Here's Popovic. Skips in field. Milovinovic sends it this near side to Adam. Popovic inside him, and he can't find the pass. It's too easy for Brown. Into the final 25 minutes of this contest. Can Olympic force an equaliser? Popovic, who come back from an offside position. Be interesting to see how FC approach this last 20 minutes, having had the season that they've had, Dave, so far. You know, the nerves will be kicking in. They realise how important this match is, not just for them to progress into the competition, but also for perhaps the momentum builder that they need to start their campaign.
Yeah, you know, they're in a really strong position as it stands. As we said, this is the sort of game where you can see it be a turning point.
There's Ugrinic bursting into the penalty area. Looks for Barac. It might come for Colbertaldo on the far post. Looking to create a shooting chance, perhaps. He's taking a deflection, and Larkin needed to be aware it was dropping, but he was always behind it. Smashes it forward. Popovic goes down off the ball in a challenge with Gerbischer. Wants a free kick, and he gets one, and it will be a card. Or is it a card for Popovic for having a chat? I think it is. Nick Popovic in the book for dissent.
Bit of a frustrating night for Nick Popovic so far. I think Russ hasn't had a lot of joy up front against Daniel Subasic and Matty Gerbischer, and maybe that just coming through there a bit in his chat with Gary Vandenberg that earns him a slice of cheese.
Heard one of the fans ask for the VAR there. Not sure what happened off the ball, but Popovic was adamant that he was fouled by Gerbischer. And he let Gary Vandenberg know in no uncertain terms. Talked himself into a yellow card, and that would have been a 10-minute dismissal in the league. Adam challenges with Barac. Canberra Olympics Cup run in danger of fizzling out unless they can find something. Here's Pateman. He's got a bit of space in which to work. Finds Popovic. Be a bit riled up at the moment, you'd imagine. Here's Kelly. Megic looks to lift it in towards Popovic. Subasic's header was there to get rid of it, and Colbertaldo neat and tidy, as he usually is. Lamb past two. Still going, and then runs into Pateman, but it's going to get himself a free kick, and here's a card for Nathan Megic, I think that is, running back.
Bit early to be swapping jerseys, you'd think, Russ. Nathan Megic there, just with a tug on the jersey of Jordan Lamb. I think he got the result he wanted. It stopped Canberra FC really breaking out of that back line where they had numbers.
Possibly didn't need to do it, though, considering that Lamb had perhaps overrun the ball. Is this a sign of some frustration creeping into Canberra Olympics play? Two yellow cards within minutes of each other. And Daniel Subasic will be in no rush to send this forward. And look for a red shirt. Barac is the target. He did win it, but there's no one alert to the flick on. You can feel a little bit of sense of urgency in Canberra Olympic. It's a good distribution that from Rory Larkin to find Michael Reeve. This is Dan Mutlu who's made the run forward. Stumbled and wins a corner. And a chance for Nick Bobolis and Amir Adam and Nathan Medjic to get into the penalty area. The tall timber from Canberra Olympic.
Yeah, plenty of strong, tall bodies for Olympic here. They can throw at this corner as it comes in, and it's a really good chance for them to find an equaliser.
It's all about the delivery. Jay Kelly's been entrusted with it. Can he find something? Decent one towards the far post. Medjic was there. Two red shirts collide, and Mirages gets rid of it. Mutlu's ball to Reeve. Kelly cuts in field, leaves it for Adam. Nicely done. Ball into the area, and it's a good piece of defending from Subasic. Came off his heels. Waters sends it forward. Barac is a willing runner, and he's there with Nick Bobolis, and this is a good battle. Bobolis shows his strength. Milovanovic. Mirages gets a foot in. Graham. Now Lamb rather lashes that one forward in the direction of Barac. He'll come straight back. Kelly. Medjic's ball. Anywhere will do for FC at the moment. Needed to be a good header from Janchevsky, and it was. Larkin just taking his time. Olympic looking to build some momentum.
Half time at Hawker Russ, ANU 2-0 up over Steve Forshaw's Belconnen United. As we suggested, synthetic maybe playing a role there with the students a bit more used to it than their NPL1 counterparts.
Here's Kelly looking to force an equaliser, goes down into the challenge, but it will be a goal kick. Much work to do for Steve Forshaw and Belconnen United at half time then. Big team talk coming up for him.
As it stands, ANU heading through to the Final Four, joining, as it stands, Tigers FC, Canberra FC and Tuggeranong United. Interesting to see if any of those results change.
What you sometimes get in NPL2 is a lack of fitness that can cause some problems, and causing problems here was Jason Ugrinich with the strike and a decent save from Rory Larkin. It was creeping in.
Yeah, he just kind of swept that one across his body, Russ. Rory Larkin maybe not expecting to see it going towards that far corner, but he's done really well to get down low and force that out for a corner. But danger continues for Canberra Olympic with just under 20 minutes left to play.
We're probably going to see plenty more of this as the game ticks on in these last 20 minutes, as Olympic throw bodies forward in an attempt to find an equaliser. And Canberra FC look to kill the tie-off. Ugrinich with the corner. Swings it into that 6-yard box. Good clearing header from Milovanovic. Colbertaldo. And another corner for Canberra FC. And another chance for them to swing it in and put pressure on Roy Larkin, who's, like you said, punched a lot today.
Absolutely. He hasn't looked too convincing under the high ball. A lot of opportunities where he maybe could have gone to grab the ball instead. And Russ, it looks like Luka Ujda might be making his first sub. It looks like Nicky Yadrich may be getting ready to come on over on that far side.
I'm sure you'll see out the corner first. Swung into the penalty area and a good clearing header from Milovanovic. Kelly tries to keep it in play. It's only found FC and Barac, who goes down under the challenge. And a free kick. Probably on the cusp of shooting range. Plenty of those in red shirts will fancy their luck from here. Colbertaldo's got the ball. Jason Ugrinich has got a decent strike from range, especially with his left foot. Daniel Colbertaldo seems to have taken charge though.
Scored one just the other week in that comeback win against Monero Panthers, albeit maybe from slightly closer. He curled it into the far corner, but we know he's got a really solid strike on him. It'll be interesting to see if he opts to curl this one over the wall or just goes for power.
Well, the right of Colbertaldo or the left of Ugrinich. Take your pick, Canberra FC. It is Colbertaldo, and it's not testing anyone except for the possums that live in those trees behind the goal.
Wouldn't be too impressive if I was a marsupial at the AIS tonight, Russ. There's a couple of balls gone flying into the trees tonight, but probably a let-off there for Canberra Olympic with Cobertado skying that one. A foul that didn't really need to happen. A fair way out from goal.
But he was confident, wasn't he? He stepped forward and planted the ball and just didn't get it right. Wasted a few seconds, though. Here's Waters looking to take on Adam and runs it out of play. Barach just for a moment had got himself free inside the penalty area. Didn't find him, though. Here's Ugrinich looking for him now, perhaps. Runs into Adam, no foul given. Jancheski's clearance cannons off of Medjic. Barach. Miragis. Slips. Gets back up again, though. It gets a bit colder here. Perhaps it's getting a little bit dewy.
Yeah, a few players slipping over. We've seen tonight, Russ. Lucas Miragis in a little bit of pain after that one, falling over. Maybe a little bit of a collision, but he looks to be all right now as Canberra FC go forward from the throw-in.
Ugrinich cuts inside. Here is Miragis, fully recovered. Keir finds Lamb. Inside to Keir again. 15 minutes to go. Still 1-0. Still Daniel Cobertaldo's goal separating the sides. Still freezing cold.
I think I might have to take this microphone home with me, Russ, because I don't know that my hand's going to release it at the end of the night.
Should have brought some gloves, Dave. Although mine aren't doing much good.
You'd think I'd know this by now.
Poor Monique on the camera as well. No gloves on her hands either. Here's a chance for Ugrinich to fire one goalwards and warm everybody up a bit, but fails to hit the target. Back underway in the Tigers-Pumas match. Going to see this change, I think, that Dave mentioned earlier. That was the last involvement for Jason Ugrinich, and Nicky Yardrich comes on. Talented young midfielder. He'll help shore it up a little bit for Canberra FC in the remaining quarter of an hour. Very energetic. Larkin sends this forward. It's going to bounce in between Gerbischer and Milovanovic, and Gerbischer wins it. Keir's there too, and Milovanovic has left a little bit on him, and he's going to get a yellow card here, the midfielder. Welcome to the Canberra Premier League yellow card, that one. Can't really argue.
A rite of passage.
He looks neat and tidy, doesn't he, as a footballer? Looks like he'll be a good addition to this Canberra Olympic squad.
I think Frank Cater will be buoyed by what he's seen from him so far in this outing. You know, as you mentioned, on his first time out in this scene.
Probably wasn't expected to play this much this morning. He was named as a substitute. Pulled into the lineup when Tim Boblis went down with a hamstring strain in the warm-up, and Milovanovic has been tasked with playing all of it so far. We'll probably see through the 90 minutes. Here's Canberra FC looking to try and see through the 90 minutes. Have Olympic got something left in the tank? Or will Lucas decide seal it? Here's Miragis looking to do just that into the penalty area, and that is a very well-timed challenge from Nick Boblis. Concedes the corner, but more importantly, kept his side in the cup. And Canberra FC noticeably not pushing too many men forward. They've left three back, and there's three Olympic players hanging around on halfway for a quick break as well. So this is going to be interesting.
Just over 10 minutes left for us. Canberra FC not looking to take any risks, but Olympic also haven't really shown the ability to get out too quickly from these set pieces so far. So interesting to see how this one plays out.
Swung in towards the near post and should be easily dealt with. Here's Milovanovic looking to break this quickly, and here is a chance for Canberra Olympic on the break with Jay Kelly. Mutlu coming up in support, played a bit behind him. Popovic picks it up. Reeves come to this near side. Medjic wants it, finds it, and then Kelly is beaten to it by Gerbischer, and it was a promising move that again peters out.
Absolutely made me look a bit silly after saying that they'd struggled to get out on the break there. really moving the ball nicely out of defence, but just passes kind of going behind guys at the moment, not really hitting their target, and it's hurting them when they do look to move forward.
Miragis slips at an inopportune moment, and here's Magic looking to take advantage of that unfortunate fall. Reeve just clips it over. Waters went for his own return. Gets a throw. And Michael Reeve taking his time, and there's not much of it left, so needs to be a bit careful. We're into the final 10 minutes or so here, and here's Adam with the sliding challenge. Popovic into the penalty area, tries to force his way through. That's taken a wicked deflection and falls nicely for Jordan Lamb. Barach. Lamb's ball forward. Miragis wanted it over the top to chase. And here's a chance for Ryan Keir. Doesn't have the pace of old, and Jancheski was there to win it back for Olympic. Game becoming a little more stretched in this final 10 minutes as Reeve tries to get on the end of that long ball. I'm expecting to see a lot more of that as well, Dave, where it's stretched around, and there'll be plenty of gaps.
Yeah, not wrong. Long ball going both ways. I think you'll see in the final 10 or so minutes. Olympic, as they push forward, are obviously going to leave gaps that Canberra FC can look to exploit. They're going to have some fresher legs with 2 subs still left in this tie as they go forward.
Here they come with Waters. Huge amount of space here for Lucas Miragis to turn and hit one, and he drags it wide of the far post with Larkin scrambling. Had more time than he thought, perhaps.
Yeah, that was a perfect opportunity there. Maybe that pass from Matt Waters out on the left, a little bit behind him, left him with a bit more to do than he would have wanted, but still way too much time and space. He had time to collect, turn and fire at goal, and he'll be disappointed with sending that one wide.
Might get another chance before the end. Get the feeling that there are going to be opportunities at both ends as this game ticks on into the final 9 minutes or so plus stoppage time, and I can't imagine there'll be too much stoppage time at the end of this one. We haven't had too many breaks in the second half. Thrown in towards Miragis. Looks to turn his man. Does very well. Opportunity here for Barach in the area. Here's Daniel Barach, and that's a good piece of defending, and it needed to be, as Nicky Yardrich was completely unmarked. If he could have prodded it through, that would have killed it off. Danger's not over yet. Might be now as Magic brings it forward. Runs into Colbertaldo. Keir. Lamb wants it and has got it. Stretches his legs. 2 to aim for in the penalty area. Only picks out Nick Bobolis. Keir finds Barach. Good challenge that from Magic, and it might send Olympic up the other way. Popovic turns. He's got Reeve out to this near side, but he's only found Waters, and off he can go, stretching his legs up the other end. Yardrich was caught between 2 minds whether to join the attack or stay back and defend, and that's allowed Olympic to break forward. And here's Mutlu. A little bit of space for him to work in. Swings it into the penalty area. Real good ball in as well, and Kelly couldn't get a touch. Falls for Jancheski. Returns with interest, and Mutlu jumps to leap to meet it, but couldn't get a touch, and FCC that one out.
End-to-end action there, Russ. Matt Waters released down this left-hand side for FC. A really good tackle from Michael Reeve, and that just set Olympic off up the other end. A good cross from the right that just no one could get on the end of. Good signs for Olympic, but certainly plenty of those gaps at the back that we spoke about as they look to push forward.
Wonderful ball in from Mutlu, and Jay Kelly was half a stud away from getting an end product on that. Turn from Jancheski. Pateman finds Kelly. Magic lets it run, and it rolls through all the way to Brown. Just needed someone on a blue shirt to gamble. Brown hoiks it down the field. Colbertaldo. Miragis. Colbertaldo. 4-on-3 here at the moment. And Colbertaldo holds his head in his hand. Didn't find Jardrich. And off we go. Feels like a game of basketball at the moment. Here's Popovic peeling into the channel. Gerbischer goes with him and defends superbly well. Just steps across the path of Nick Popovic. All his experience from Matt Gerbisher just to stand across him there, and even more experience to roll onto the field to get some treatment when he was 3 yards off it.
It's very well executed side roll there from Matt Gerbisher. He'll get points from the judges for that one, I think, coming back into the field of plays. Gary Vanderberg goes over to check on him, Sam Brown as well, but he looks like he's going to be able to carry on.
Can't see his face from this far away, but I'm sure there's a wry smile on it. He was almost in the trees behind the goal and then took several rolls forward. Kept himself in the field of play. Upshot is a goal kick, which Brown sends forward. Good win from Bobolas. Reeve helps it on its way. Now Popovic might be in behind here. Coming together with Gerbisher, and Olympic wanted a free kick and they probably had a case.
Maybe a bit of a 50-50 there, Russ. Popovic might have been going over as Gerbisher went down, but definitely a case. Olympic maybe feeling aggrieved as Popovic looked to race onto a ball that was then his after Gerbisher had gone down. Instead, they've got a throw in out on this side, and Ryan Keir heads over to the bench.
Aidan Brunskill to replace him for the final 5 minutes or so of cup action. Canberra FC leading thanks to that thunderbolt from Daniel Colbertaldo. The difference between the two sides. Canberra Olympic desperate to get on with this. Ryan Keir,
I think
very
Olympic
slowly
played on,
trudging off,
thinking he might have gone off, but no, alas, he was still making his way off. Aidan Brunskill not quite ready to come on just as yet.
Substitutions taken as long as it took me to get to work this morning.
Depending on which road you took, it could have been quite a while, Russ.
Was a fair old trek. Long throw from Magic into the penalty area. Half cleared, only as far as Reeve. Pateman picks it up and look to find Magic. And we're straight back to where we were 30 seconds ago. And once again, Magic will line this one up and look to launch it towards a blue shirt. And it's a decent one in towards a penalty spot. Panic in the area, and Colbertaldo hooks it into the night sky. Pateman sent it back. It's bounced off the arm of Kelly. Comes for Janchevsky. Canberra FC can't clear it. Popovic is in here. What a save. Again from Sam Brown to deny Nick Popovic and keep Canberra FC's lead intact.
2 times that Sam Brown has arguably bailed out his defenders. Olympic here with the quick corner.
Magic swings it in. Graham can't get a touch. Does at the second attempt. What a save that was again, because it felt nicely for Popovic after that massive scramble. Olympic looking to up the tempo for the final 5 minutes, looking to find an equaliser, and that's a massive hack from Amir Adam, and he's the latest in blue to find a yellow card. An apologetic pat on the back of Daniel Barach.
Just a bit late with that one, Russ, coming in with the swinging leg. Barach managed to get rid of the ball.
But what a stunning save again from Sam Brown. He fell for Popovic, looked for all money like he was going to equalise, and Brown plunging to his left to push it away.
Hasn't had a lot to do tonight, but when he's been called upon, he's done it really well. That's the second big save we've seen from him in this second half. First one earlier from Janchevsky, and he's kept his side in a lead.
And thoroughly justifying his inclusion from the start today from Luke Ujda, replacing Jordan Thurtell with Sam Brown. And he's approximately 3 minutes plus stoppage time away from a clean sheet, and a clean sheet that would see Canberra FC into the semi-finals of the FFA Cup, and a result which may kick-start their season and which may keep the notoriously fickle Canberra FC support happy with their coach for another week or two.
It's a clean sheet that they haven't been able to keep yet this year, Russ, conceding at least a couple of goals in almost all their games by the Charity Shield. So I think if this game finishes as it stands, and it'll be a very pleased Luka Ujda that walks back across the pitch at full time.
Time ticking away. Time ticking away in the other Cup quarterfinals, of course, as well. Last time we checked, ANU were 2-0 up on Belconnen, which is the major upset of the night. Tigers were 4-1 up on UC Pumas, and Tuggeranong United were beating Woden Western 2-0. Mirages was interested in that. Ball smashed forward. Popovic looking to get a touch on it. Gerbisher will send that up towards us in the commentary position. And Canberra Olympic will be desperate to get this one going again. Magic Bit of space in the middle of the field for Milovanovic. Pateman. Kelly. Looking to swing this into the penalty area. Looking for a blue shirt. Swung towards the far post. Might come for Reeve. Can't keep it in play. Just too far for Michael Reeve. And Sam Brown will eat up the seconds.
Not going to be in any rush to take this one. I wouldn't have thought. Russ entering the final minute of regulation. Make sure it's in a really nice spot on the grass before he heads back to kick this one.
Plenty to pick from at the AS. Slightly better than the surface that Olympic were playing on the weekend down at Canberra against Tuggeranong.
Just a touch.
Magic launches this one forward. Gerbischer sends that towards the Masters match. On the field behind us. Nathan Magic, the chance perhaps to load this into the penalty area once more. Towards Popovic. Breaks for Adam. Forces it towards Milovanovic. Bounces off of him and away come Canberra FC. Balac will chase this one. He's got a runner inside him. It's Daniel Balac going for goal himself. Going for goal and going wide with the shot. Didn't catch it at all when he got in, did he?
No, a really good run there and a dangerous break forward from Canberra FC, but that final product was just lacking. Rory Larkin able to watch it. Just roll past his post, and time running out now though for Canberra Olympic.
Into stoppage time at the end of the 90 minutes, and Gerbischer heads that out of play. Now Magic surely will launch this into the penalty area. Reeve in fact has the ball in his hands. Now it's Magic, Reeve, Popovic. Looks to turn. Throw in level with the penalty area. Magic runs over to take. Blue shirts abound inside the box. Huge throw from Magic again. Big header from FC. Falls to Popovic. Kelly fires it goalwards and it's just wide of the target. Snapshot on the turn from Jay Kelly in the first minute of stoppage time we've just had up, and maybe that's the last chance, Dave.
Yeah, end of the first minute of stoppage time. That one just shaving the side netting of Sam Brown's goal. Admittedly only a half chance, but maybe, as you said, the last one with time running out now.
Brown, who's had a huge impact on this tie, sends it forward. Reeves touch. Magic loses out. Larkin needs to send this up the other end of the park as quick as he can. Seconds away from Canberra FC. Taking this one out. Gerbischer, very calmly done. And then hammers it up towards Balac. Comes off his arm perhaps. Play on, says the referee. Mirages looks for the chip from distance. Straight down the throat of Larkin. Pateman. Is there time for one more FC Olympic attack? Nice touch on from Milovanovic. Popovic running at Gerbischer. Pulling it across the penalty area. Getting a second opportunity to reload this ball. Nick Popovic and runs into Matt Gerbischer. Runs it out of play, and that might be just it for Canberra FC. Fitting that Gerbischer should be involved, as he's been solid all afternoon.
Yeah, he's been an absolute rock at the back tonight for Canberra FC, not just in the sense of being a strong defender, but also marshalling that line and really helping them hold out against the dangerous Olympic forward line. He's kept Nick Popovic at bay for much of the night, and that's kind of shown in a frustrated performance at times for Nick Popovic.
Brown launches it forwards. Keep an eye on Gary Vanderbert, see if he puts the whistle to his lips at any stage soon. Magic just lofts it into the penalty area, and it's easy for Brown. And I'm sure this will go as far as he can get it away from his goal. Barac, who's been a willing runner the whole night. Larkin takes another touch and looks to thrash this up towards the edge of the penalty area. Good win in the middle of the park from Lamb. Adam round the corner from Pateman. He's going to get it back again, and he might have an opportunity here to run at the Canberra FC defence in the 4th minute of stoppage time. And there is the final whistle. Crisis. What crisis? Canberra FC back doing what Canberra FC do, winning in the FFA Cup quarter-final, ending Canberra Olympics Cup dreams at the last 8 stage. Dave, the goal in the first half was worthy of winning a cup tie, and it came from a former Canberra Olympic player, Daniel Cole-Bataldo's strike into the top corner. And on the balance of play, you'd have to say that FC deserved that.
Yeah, really strong performance, as we mentioned, something we haven't seen a lot of. A 90-minute performance from Canberra FC. They were strong at the back, disciplined. As you said, a really good goal from Daniel Cobertado, and outside of that, they really only created chances when they needed to. They got out on the break as Olympic pushed forward. They got numbers behind the ball when Olympic looked to attack. And as you said, Luka was to be a happy man tonight. There's no side you'd rather kind of turn things around against than your storied rivals.
A huge credit as well to Luka Ujda for turning this around, for turning around a performance on the weekend when there was talk around the traps that it may have been the end for him after losing 3-2 to Belconnen, but they've given him the opportunity today, and he's shown what his team's capable of. We did mention that there were glimpses of this kind of performance that we've seen over the last 2 weeks, but finally they've put together 90 minutes worthy of the football club.
Yeah, a very strong performance, particularly after the weekend losing to Belconnen United. Coming out like this against one of the best teams in the competition is some way for him to respond to the critics and I guess the naysayers, you'd say, at this point of the season. He's showing that he's probably the right man to lead Canberra FC going forward. They've got a big clash with Woden Western on Sunday afternoon. You think if they can find a result in there, then it really sets them up nicely moving forward through the season.
You look at moments that change games, and you look at things that happen and don't happen, and you see on the weekend Stephen Dominici suspended, Lasse Ulrich suspended, Tim Bobolas injured his hamstring in the warm-up, Kofi Danning injured his hamstring 25 minutes or so into the match. Those kind of things really pile up against you for Canberra Olympic. And for Frank Casey, you'd have to say that it's not been his night. Yeah,
as much as we say, this is a really good performance from Canberra FC, not a lot went right for Frank Casey and Canberra Olympic. You mentioned injuries prior to the game starting, suspensions, Kofi going down, having to use a sub early, and then, just a couple of moments where they may have scored in any other game against another keeper, but Sam Brown with 2 huge saves in that second half to keep them at bay and to keep a clean sheet for Canberra FC for the first time this season.
Thanks for your company, Dave. It's been a cracking night of cup football. It's not over yet. You can flick across and see some of the other matches that are going on. We can see on the field behind us, Kuma Tigers, UC Pumas. It's 5-1, I think you're saying, Dave? 5-1 to the Tigers in that one. And the big news, of course, over at ANU at Hawker. It's ANU 2, Belconnen 0. But here, in the clash between the two big clubs in Canberra, the two sides that have really dominated the competition over the last decade or so, it's Canberra FC, who've had a terrible start to the season. Perhaps this is the kickstart they need. Perhaps we will be talking in September or so about a renaissance from Canberra FC after a terrible start, because it's Daniel Cobertaldo who's the match winner. His stunning strike after 20 minutes separated the sides. It finished in the FFA Cup qualifying quarter-final. Canberra FC 1, Canberra Olympic 0.